Alright, so in this video we're just going to be adding some more of the game objects stuff to our scene. So some of the game object manager stuff. So to do this in our scene class, let's do protected list of game objects called game objects. Set that equal to new array list. Just like that, and we must have imported the wrong array list. So let's do import java.util.list. There we go. And now, we're just gonna create a scene constructor. Nothing's gonna be inside of it. An initialization method, nothing's going to be inside of that. In the start method, we will put stuff. We'll do for each game object in game objects. We'll say geo.start, and we should also do a private boolean is running equals to false up here, and down here we'll do is running equals to true. Okay, and then I think this line of code is for later. That variable is for later, so ignore that. We'll do a public void add game object to scene. So this is how we're going to add game objects, geo, and we'll do. So essentially the scene is going to hold all of the game objects we create, and then it's going to manage them for us. So we'll do if is running, so that's where this variable comes in, right? So we're going to say if it is running, then we are going to add the game object specified in the parameters. Otherwise, we're going to add the game object, and then we're going to do geo.start. There we go. Now let's do a getter public game object get game object, and here we're going to get the specified game object associated with the name we pass in, right? So we're going to get the game object through its name. So if we have a player and its name is player, and we have a sword and its name is sword, then we can say, all right, program get the player, right? And we'll specify in strings, in a string, player. It's going to look for each game object. It's like sword, no. Its name is sword, not player. All right, let's check the player. What's its name? Well, its name is player, and then it's going to give you the actual object. So that's how it works. So then we're going to do, so this syntax is a little complex, but we're going to do optional, and we're going to import the utility because we want to specify right here that it's going to be a game object. We're going to call it result. We're going to do it, say that it's equal to game object dot stream, and then we're going to filter the game object's names, or anything that's not equal to the name specified in the parameter. I'm going to do find first right there, and then we're going to return result or else null. All right, so this does the same thing as, so this would be the alternative. We would do for each game object geo and get all in game objects if geo.name dot equals to name, then we're going to return geo. So this would be, this is the same exact thing as this, except this is all done in one line. As you can see, it's just one line, but I split it up because it looks neater, and I have a feeling this is also faster for the computer. All right, so let's also do a public game object get all game objects, and we're just going to return the game objects array. This should be a list of game objects. My apologies. And over here, we just do get all. Oops. And do get all game objects. I just like to filter everything through here because then we have all of our access points from this one method, so it's very easy to access. Now let's make another one that returns a list of game objects, but this one's going to get game objects with the component specified within the parameters. So we're gonna say, all right, you have to pass in a class that extends to the component class, meaning you have to pass in a class that corresponds with that is a component type. We'll just call it component class, and then we will do list of game objects result equals to new array list. Let's say for each game object, geo and get all game objects. If the geo dot has components, component class, and we'll do result dot add geo, and then we'll return result. Why you give me error capture? Class T does not extend. Huh? Change first parameter. Huh? Dot has component. What do you want? Oh, did I? I mean, I used a generic type instead. Why does this not work? This should work. This should work. What? Let's see. Change the first parameter of method component class. Okay, so it requires a class of type T, but that class is just something that extends components. Sorry guys, something's going on. In my sample code, it worked. Let's see, what Java? I'm using 17. What am I using here? I'm using 17. Why do you do this? So I just change it. So we're going to do this. No, that's extending an AWT. I see the problem. Yes. I see the problem. So, oh wait, I do not see the problem. Dot has component. What? Capture of extends. Is it because of this? Oh, my bad. Okay, so what we had before was correct. Right, so this can extend to this generic type T. The problem here is that we are seeing it extends to the component of AWT. So make sure that you import the correct component type, right? Always check if you're importing the correct type of object. All right, so that should work now. Yep, that's not giving us any errors. And now we should be all done. We should add a remove game objects from scene. So we can do over here, public void remove game objects from scene. Wait, do I have this? Okay, I don't have it, so we'll just pass in game object, and we'll do get all game objects dot remove go. There we go. Okay. And let's just call it remove game object. It's a better name. Okay, so this should work. So now from the last tutorial, we have this prefabs.generate. And what we can do is we can cut this out, and we can say add game object to scene and pass in that prefab. And then we can say let's print out the get all game objects dot size. Okay, so we're going to run the game, and you can see that in the console down here, it's trailing behind. There we go. You can see in the console down here, it's just printing out 0, right? Because there's 0 game objects. But then when I press space, I'm going to create a prefab object. I'm going to do prefabs.generate, a test object. So now if I press space, should create it, and you can see it says 1. Press it again, so now it says 2. If I press it again, it should say 3, meaning there's 3 game objects in the scene. There we go. Okay. What we can also do is say, let's do that. We can also say for each game object, go in get all game objects, this for loop, and we can print out the name. So you'll see in the bottom there, it won't print anything, but when I press space, it'll create a game object that says that's called test obj, and you can see now it's printing it. So our game object system does work. All right, so see you guys in the next tutorial. Bye.